Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
So my name is Etgar Shpivak and coming from Israel. I'm seeing myself as an entrepreneur and a marketer. Came, 20 and something years ago, did some coding. Then I go to work with some of the largest brands here and some brands in the US. Wrote a bestseller book in Hebrew on marketing, chosen as one of the 25 most influencers by PPC Hero, maybe the most prestigious magazine for PPC experts. From the marketing perspective, I built and sold an edtech startup to a public US company. We had Fixel. We did the scoring of audiences according to the level of interaction. Sold it in 2020. Since then, like half-time building. I love to build, to be entrepreneur, and my other half is doing marketing. So I really like to sit on this bridge when I'm doing my consultancy. To sit on this bridge, and I'm working mainly with startups between the founders to their marketing team. This is like awesome. In 30 seconds.
That's cool. I'm curious more about your background. How did you kind of like get into marketing in the first place?
When I go into the marketing, it was totally by accident. And I think this is the first time that I'm telling this story publicly. I'm sweating here. It's hot here in Israel. And it was actually by accident. My father had a website and I finished in the army. I did some programming roles in the Israeli army, and he's a biz dev guy, just departure from his role. He told me, do you want to work here for 2 months? Can you help me a bit? So those 2 months became, I think, 2.5 years, which I really, really like doing that. From then I go into one of the largest publisher as a senior account manager. And then I manage the digital marketing. I think it was in 2007 of one of the largest ad agencies in Israel. And then I built the social media in 2019, which was like pretty new. I think Facebook, launched 2018, very early 2009. I'm old. And then, we took some of the largest customers in Israel, like the largest communication company, the largest food company, and some of the largest companies in Israel into this social media adventure, let's call it, for them, because no one really understood what was Facebook back then. And then I work 2 years after, work independently with some of the largest brands over here.
Awesome. So I'm curious, you were saying that you kind of focus a lot on PPC. So what does that look like? Is it mostly Google, Amazon, both?
I think it's like today I'm also doing like some PPC, mainly manage the team who doing it. But I think that what people don't understand is that, first of all, PPC can be amazing and can be highly frustrating, especially with all the changes that we currently seeing. And I think, and I know that a lot of entrepreneurs seeing this podcast, and I think that when you look on like those small companies, extremely low budget, there is something really important that they have to understand regarding their media efforts. What they need to understand is that what do they want to achieve? Now, it sounds like a very simple question, right? It's like, yeah, I want to get sales. But when you work, and this can be across all the media channels, across organic content, and this is not only solely for PPC, when you build a new venture and now you're the CEO, you raise some money, maybe some friends and family, maybe you use your saving and you want to make the best use of each one of your marketing dollars, right? Now, we actually have two approach. One approach is I want to trim the low-hanging fruit to see where there are people who willing to make interest in my service or willing to buy my service. This is one approach. One of the problem with this approach is that it doesn't necessarily tell you, hey, you have something sustainable that can grow. And this is a distinguish that when you as an entrepreneur have to understand, what do you want to achieve? Am I saying this is my initial go to market, I'm going for audience this and this, and I want to understand if this audience is a good fit for my solution? Or, hey, my neighbor know a community and it's have 200 people that are really relevant, and everyone trust my neighbor, so he can come and endorse me, and this is great and this is amazing, and suddenly I have 30, 40, 50 clients for my new venture, and I didn't spend anything, and this is amazing. But how many neighbors like this do you have?
Right, makes sense. But I guess in terms of Google and some of the changes, what are some of the biggest things that you're seeing right now, like in the market? And obviously, AI is coming into play like a lot. I see that like on Meta, right, where AI targeting. So what are you seeing like from the Google side?
Seeing from the Google side is the fact that we have what you really need to do, and we have a bit of the reality. The reality is that the more we're seeing the time goes by, we're seeing that you have less and less control, and we're seeing that it's really hard to play without a significant budget, especially on search. Because if before, and we go in Google and we use some exact and we use those phrases and we really, really narrow, Google basically come and say, hey, give me your money. I will run you on a very, very, very broad audience. And this is your responsibility to sit and to look for negative keywords and give me the negative. And eventually I will find out the right audience for you. Now, this is fantastic, and it works when you have sustainable budget. And this is great. And on the long run...
How much budget, and I guess how much budget would that be for context?
It's really... It won't be responsible for me to say, because it really depends on where you play. I work with a client he had a SaaS solution for e-commerce, and then you're seeing, $12, $15 CPC, which is like extremely high. Now, the problem when we talk about founders and startups is you need a lot of money to reach to this point. Now, everyone coming in their pitches, they're selling, we will find the right audience for you, right? But you need tons of money to get a validation if this is right for you. Because sometimes even, and I'm talking about the small entrepreneurs, even spending $200, $300 a day is not enough for you to get a validation. And, you go into this entrepreneur and you tell him, hey man, you're going to spend, $15,000 for 2 months. And maybe in the end, we will start find clients for you. Now, it's making lots of problem and the life of those small marketeers way harder, because we're talking about, we have this theory that we show and we tell everyone, hey, Google will find the clients for you. But we don't talking about the path that you as an entrepreneur need to get there. Now, I will say, if you have those budgets, I think right now the most important factor is, and especially, it's right for e-commerce. And today it's super important for those B2B SaaS to make the distinguish between a lead to a high quality lead. Because optimizing for leads isn't enough. And I think that, if I'm a marketer today, so if I'm working and I have this budget, I think you don't really need to learn, Google deeply. I think, 5-6 years ago, getting an A-list campaigner would definitely bring you way better results. I think today the focus need to be on your amazing creative. You need to spend way more investment into your tagging and revenue operation or marketing operation. Everyone have a different name, advertising operations, into those people that are able to move the data from your CRM to Google or Facebook. And this has become right for any platform, that the way that you need to optimize way deeper in the funnel, assuming that you have those budgets. And I think that one of the key roles today of PPC managers, or whatever nice title you can use, is to actually go within the platform on a weekly cadence and to see which toggles do you want to turn off. I can tell a story that I had on an account when the PMAX just started. I work with a client and he had a lot of divisions. Now, most of the divisions works fantastically. And we had one division that we didn't manage to generate leads. Now I launched this PMAX campaign and we're seeing leads and we're very happy. And we go on 2 days later and we're seeing much more leads. And then we're going and we see a lot of leads, like 100, 150 leads. And I'm saying something is off because in the previous campaign, I struggled to get 30 leads into this service. Now, then we go and we talk to the sales team. It was, 4 or 5 days. It was a very nice budget for each day. And then we figure out that Google just sent the traffic to the most profitable services because I didn't click on the right toggle. Now, if you're playing in the e-commerce, now you have some specific use cases. You're playing in the e-commerce. You don't care which product do you want to sell. You say, I want to maximize my ROAS. This is fantastic, but this is our responsibility to figure out what do we want to achieve and how do we control our media buying process.
Yeah, I guess in terms of, so you're saying, obviously it varies. And earlier on, especially if you don't have that product market fit, it's going to cost you more money to actually go and find those customers. Do you think that, smaller companies could still see results on Google if they're spending only $50 or $100 a day?
It's hard. It's become extremely hard. Again, this is really different, from the sector, the R sector, and from the geos that you target. You're going to do e-commerce, you might get some success because they already have their in-market audiences. But I think that today, the responsibility of those builders, of those entrepreneurs, to understand this process of how do I acquire clients is essential. They don't need to be in the weeds of how Google Ads works and, where is this toggle? No. But they do need to understand what do I offer in the marketplace that I work in. And people don't, sometimes, not the people who are listening to this podcast, other people, not putting enough efforts on this. They're starting to sell, what they're selling instead of selling the real problems that they're solving.
Exactly.
And I think this constantly, or going into something too general in many cases, being distinctive in the marketplace that you're playing in is way more important than building the best offer. And there is a great book that actually talk about it, from big brands to small one. It's a Red Marketing. And they actually talk about you can actually goes wrong with your marketing offer. But in many cases, if it's distinctive enough, you will find the audience that will resonate with what you offer compared to others. Look, just for example, choose any SaaS vertical, choose the top 10 brands in this vertical. Go to their website. I promise you, without knowing what is the vertical that you just choose, that in 7 of 10 websites, you will have no idea what they're doing, assuming you're not familiar with this specific brand. Now, say something, be distinctive, do something that others don't. Will you piss some? Maybe. Will you lose 80 or 90% of your potential clients? You're probably going to do it. But if for those 10 to 20% prospective clients, you're going to be significantly better, especially if you're a young company, then you have something interesting.
Right. Makes sense. So obviously, 2026 is around the corner. What are some of the biggest changes that you're seeing for next year?
I think it's going to be way more focused about creative, especially when we talk about ads in Meta, TikTok, other channels. I think it's going to be way more investment in your marketing or marketing operations or revenue operations, especially for those B2B SaaS, way more information that can feed the AI of those platforms. I think that 2026, maybe 2027, we're going to see more maturity in the market, meaning that people will understand all those old targeting options are not relevant for me. What am I doing now? Because many people still relying on them. And when you think as a marketer, right now you have your remarketing list and you have your custom audiences and you can, get a list, I have 20,000 people on this list. This is my prospects. I'm going to target them, any available platforms, and eventually I'm going to sell. And this is about the AI. This is about the interest of those platforms. This is about many privacy regulations, many new regulations that constantly are rising. So when you combine all of them, you have to set a train of thought. This is the new reality. That platform's pretty much forcing me go wide and we will figure it out. And it's going to be very hard for those new businesses to entry, because statistically, you need, I don't know, 50, 100 conversions. For example, 50 you need in Meta just to get the ball rolling. What happens if your conversion value, you need to work, I don't know, 100, 200, $300. It means that each test, and you don't know if it's going to work, you need to spend like 5 to 10K just to see if it's actually working before you talk about scale. And it need to be a lot of preparation from those marketing and understand they're going to fail a lot, and that it's really nice that people are promising stuff, but sometimes the gap between those promises to what really happened is so big.
Awesome. So if somebody's watching this show and if they wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing with them best ways to get in contact with you?
So first of all, you're more than welcome to look for Etgar Shpivak in LinkedIn. This is /Etgar, ETGAR. This is the easiest way, or Etgar, ETGAR on Twitter. I'm always available and happy to see how I can be helpful. And I really enjoy talking with you, Dan.
Yeah, thanks so much for being on our show.
My pleasure.
Cool.